What's good, guys? It's your boy CS. What an explosive week we have had to the downside. And that's where we're going to be starting. So I think within the VIP chat and in my signals group, I was expecting Bitcoin to come around this region to hit the spider line, right? I mean, it does coincide with the golden pocket Fibonacci, as you can see, the 52K region. So where it's hit actually does coincide with the rising wedge, the original rising wedge that I had. This is where the target, I'll go into that actually now. So as you can see here, what you normally do is you measure from the outside of the wedge to the top. So around 13.67%, right? And then you measure it from the breakout, which is around, I guess, let's say here. 13, yeah, it's around here, basically. 6, 7. So that's where the wedge should or could have taken us to. I mean, there was also this one, which was a bit further down the line. But regardless, it hit numerous resistance zones. So it hit that very important resistance zone at 52.7, which is a horizontal weekly resistance. And then now is retracing above the 54K region. And I wonder whether this is just a liquidity grab for the bears to then short around 55.9K. That's another really key resistance level for Bitcoin. Now, if I go into other charts, we're still in that descending broadening wedge pattern where, hence the reason why I was saying if we did come down today, that would be the target. But the further we prolong this, the further that will drop down and it actually will go lower. And so all these historical support zones that I've been looking at gave you the 4 charts in 15 seconds. Excuse me. They're all pointing to hitting these support zones on a longer time frame. And if let's go and use the Bitcoin scrap pad. If we look at the whole bearish test, right? And I think I've really tweeted about this to somebody who was super, super bearish, which I understand their point of view, which is, I've gone through this numerous times on previous videos, but, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low. What is this here? Is this now a lower high or is this a lower low? Remember, the week hasn't closed and we don't know what to expect with next week, right? And so that's why a lot of the bears are saying this is going to curl and take us down to around 44K, right? I mean, if we're looking at just general chart patterns as well, the way that they see it, and I understand their point of view, which is just look at this chart, right? There's so many different things going on that I don't think I can exhaust them all, but like you could say this is technically a double top. You could also say that this is head and shoulders, a massive head and shoulders, mind you. Oh, it's because I've not clicked it. And so, and then you could say within that, there's even a smaller head and shoulders, which is like there and there. And then worst case to top it off is that, well, if we remove all the noise now, let's remove all that so you can just see how the bears are thinking. And why I was showing you a lot of this bearish analysis. Because it's always well and good to have a bias, but really, like I've always said to you, keep your emotions in check and just follow where the trend is going. Now, if we, let's just put horizontal ray. Let's say the neckline is around here, right? They're saying something like a 20% move would take us around, 43, 44K. Do you see that neckline? That's what they're saying. Well, that's not what they're saying. This is what I've researched myself in terms of why there would be a bearish case. There's also the fractal case, which is, if you don't know about fractals, long story short, it basically is a trend reversal. And as you can see, these triangles represent the reversal itself, on that it normally has to get eclipsed by the previous body candle. So, if this doesn't move higher, and it has like 3 body candle closes like this, it indicates that they're exhausted. The longs are exhausted. The shorts, the bears, are now getting into control, and they're fully in control with it. Again, this fractal theory doesn't always play out, and so even with the bears talking about fractals and blah blah blah, all well and great, understood. But I think for the aforesaid, the lower lows, the lower highs, the head and shoulders pattern, the double top, it's not looking good for Bitcoin. However, I know a lot of people have shown this, which is the inverse head and shoulders. If for some reason Bitcoin were to hold this neckline and we were to stay above it, then that would be very, very bullish, because that would be acting as a massive support zone. Now, as the fear and greed is on extreme fear, this usually is, as most of us know, as experienced or intermediate traders, this is a very good sign that sentiment has shifted, open interest has reduced on the buy side, on the long side for the contracts, and therefore there is less opportunity for retail to get involved, where mass accumulation can be happening in the background from, your BlackRocks and all the other top institutions, basically. And so this could, as a bullish thesis, be kind of the end to it, maybe. But realistically, we might just get a daily up to 62 and then come back down again. But if that were to occur, actually that would be very bullish, because even though that's creating a lower high, this hasn't actually produced a lower low technically. So that's one way of thinking about it. But I think for now we see a bit of a rally up, a slight rally up, see where it goes to, and then we can determine from there. I have taken a few long positions just because when it was getting toasted, alts weren't really getting battered that badly, thankfully. And so on the day and from yesterday, they've actually retraced quite a bit, and I'll be putting my stop loss to entry in due course, because if it does tank down, at least I wouldn't have lost anything. And it's a good buy opportunity just on the retrace. Now, if we look at the USDT, the tether dominance chart, just before doing so, actually, I want to show you a very bullish chart of Casper. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. And I've always shown you Casper because of how bullish it is, where it goes through this kind of like W motion out like this, right? It goes up, impulse move up, down, impulse move up, retrace, impulse move up, retrace. Massive impulse move up, retrace, massive impulse move, massive impulse move. But anyway, they move in like W formations. Can you see the W? Right? Same here, the W. And then it goes bang. Same thing with the tether dominance, right? If we look at it, it goes like W's, 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 W. Then has this massive retrace. Now it's come back. and it's doing the W formation, right? So it's kind of like, here's one W, here's the second W now coming up, and then we'll finally get a retrace eventually, which will be the alt season, the bull case scenario for the bull market, as this is directly inverse correlative to the Bitcoin chart. And so we've not hit that 6.59% level, which, again, as I showed you, the wicks normally do get filled, but I was actually looking at on the 4 hourly, and technically the body candle didn't close till 6.46. So one could argue that we did eclipse it because it went to 6.5%. And now this is the start of the relief. We're going to get some relief. What I would suggest is watching out for the 6.18% level, watching how it tests the 6.16% level, and then of course the dailies are so far gone, we need to come all the way down here to test the 20 EMA. So actually it is a good long position that anybody is taking out here for now. And obviously put your stop loss to entry, because you would have bought dirt cheap on alts mainly, and you won't have lost anything if we do go for a next leg down for Bitcoin. So I think the risk to reward is actually very, very much in our favor. The one thing I also wanted to look at was the Nikkei, the SPX, and the Dow. So if we look at the daily on the Nikkei, absolutely toasted, roasted, and all that mangled, right? Broken the 50 EMA, most likely will test the turquoise 100 EMA. S&P will most likely test the 50 EMA. And the Dow will most likely test the 20 EMA. If we look at it on a daily, the Dow has now tested the 20 and is about to test the 50 EMA. The XPX is about to test the 100 EMA. And again, the Nikkei is basically correlative more to Bitcoin at the moment, which, if we go and have a look at Bitcoin, has broken right through. And as you can see on here, if I go on the scrap pad, there's basically a death cross on the EMAs. Now, this usually stays below for some time, actually. And Bitcoin, like I said, even if it came up to test it, it could be a heavy rejection. It could just be a suckers rally, for all we know. However, that still doesn't negate the fact that I think this is still a good long area as support, and we just see where it goes. But yeah, just my 2 cents. As I've previously given in my past couple of videos, the more detailed analysis, this is more of a recap video of just where we're at. And yeah, I'll post more stuff, but just be careful with your bias. Don't be longing everything just because it hits every support zone now. Be very, very careful. But at the moment, fear and greed is at extreme fear, even though I don't feel any fear. Weirdly enough, I do kind of want it to go to 44k so I can buy even cheaper. But that's just where we are at. A lot of the altcoins are bouncing back quite nicely as well.